Picture Perfect, written by Qoutewithhope and read by Eleanor Elizabeth. Summary. The Yamazwas get their yearly family Christmas photo with Santa, but when Hitoshi's mouth is faster than his brain, a new photographer has to help him smile. The mall was always packed during December, people getting gifts ready or looking for a nice place to warm up. "Come on, Hitoshi, we need to meet Santa!" Eri cried as she tugged her brother's arm, trying to keep up with their parents. Oh yeah, that's why this place is so packed. Families like theirs that want an everlasting photo of their kids looking happy yet organised. "Yeah, Hitoshi, don't you want to see your boyfriend?" Yamada turned his head around to tease his son, watching the boy turn red at the mention of the green boy. Ever since he had come home from his little date that night, his family had continuously teased him about his blushing habit. At the mere mention of his boyfriend, his face would flush into a bright red. Even if he tried to hide it with an everlasting frown or shoving himself deeper into his scarf or hoodie, he would always blush. "I told you, he couldn't come, he has to work," Hitoshi said, picking up his feet so he couldn't be dragged by his little sister. In all honesty, he was kind of disappointed he couldn't be here. He knew how much Izuku worked. The boy practically had more jobs than his family had cats. But he couldn't complain. When they would hang out, it would be played off as study sessions with a classmate, or be interrupted by some form of sparring session with his father. He loved it when both of them were off, and all they wanted to do was nap on Izuku's couch with some children's movies playing as background noise. The two men share a look of confusion before looking back towards the line. Now, the reason as to why Aizawa and Yamada were confused about their son's disappointment was because he was standing right in front of them. No, literally, the boy was standing behind a camera, flashing smiles and silly faces, trying to get the little kids on Santa's lap to smile for their picture. Once it was their turn with the big fat man, Hitoshi had yet to look up from his feet, staying to the side with his parents as Eri ran to the man. "Oh, hello! What's your name, little girl?" he asked as Eri was placed into his lap by a rather angry-looking elf. "My name's Eri," she chirped, attention fully on the guy. "Well then, Eri, what can I get you for Christmas?" he asked in a gruff voice. "I want a big, big batch of candy apples," she said, her smile growing ever wider as Saint Nick chuckled. "Well then, I'm sure I can make that happen," he promised, giving her a genuine smile under the beard. "Your turn, Hitoshi," Eri said as she jumped down from Santa's lap, running over to tug her brother's arm. Snapping out of his staring contest with the candy cane elf, Hitoshi was forcefully, kindly dragged into the lap of Santa Claus by his younger sister. "Hello there, young man." He was just as cheery with him as he was with Eri. It felt kind of awkward, considering he was almost double her age. Hello," Hitoshi croaked. This was way more social interaction than he was hoping for today. "What can I get you for Christmas, kiddo?" He could hear the clicks of a camera in the background. God, he was going to kill his parents. And maybe Eri too, for getting him into this situation. Looking the man in the face, he said with a completely serious look, "Someone to love me?" Now, if you asked him why he said this after the encounter, he would have told you that he panicked, that it was a knee-jerk reaction that he didn't truly have control of in the moment. He could see Santa stutter in his reaction, probably expecting someone his age to say something like an electronic or begging to pass their classes. "Oh, ho, ho! I'm sure I can work something out." Santa seemed slightly scared by the situation. Quickly, an elf with large pink cheeks came over and guided the rest of his family over to a large chair for a final picture. He got down and replaced himself with Eri as he stood close to his father. An embarrassed grimace covered his face as he looked down in shame. "Oh God, why the hell would you say that? You have a boyfriend, dumbass!" The snickers of his parents were not helping the situation at all, no matter how many times they tried to hide it by looking away or playing it off as a cough. He could only hope that he could go hide in a Hot Topic bathroom and pray that no one else heard his stupid mess up. When Izuku got an offer to be a photographer at the Santa meet and greet that paid surprisingly well, he jumped at the offer. enough money to pay rent for the month, and have leftover cash for gifts and food. It was like a Christmas miracle. He could do what he loved, not get discriminated against, and get Hitoshi's family the most perfect gifts for them to like him. Don't get him wrong, he didn't not want to see All Might. I mean, who would want to see the man who absolutely crushed his dreams? But cash is cash, right? So here he was, dressed in a light green button-up and slacks, taking family photos that would most likely be put on someone's Christmas card. "Hey, kid, finish up this family and take your break," Yashi, the supervisor of the event, said as he passed him by. He was an older guy, pre-quirk age old, but kind. He was looking at the last photo, making notes of what should be edited and the information of the family, when he heard a very recognizable child. "Your turn, Hitoshi!" Looking up, he saw a white-haired child he'd seen in many pictures from his boyfriend. He remembers the time she would join their date calls, invited or otherwise, and absolutely embarrass Hitoshi with exposing way too much information. Wait, if she's here then? Lo and behold, now up on Santa's lap was Hitoshi Yamazwa, looking extremely out of place. He had one of those awkward smiles that you'd see on an opossum. Happy to be there, but doesn't know what to do with themselves. Now, he wasn't supposed to, but it was his camera and he couldn't help but take a few shots for blackmail and persuasion to let him date their son. He watched as Santa asked him what he wanted and got ready to snap the asking shot. "Someone to love me." Izuku loves his boyfriend. He'll never make fun of him in bad taste, but he couldn't help the small giggles that fell from his mouth. The family photos were always his favourite. How all the family came together and how all their smiles looked real. Waving his hands a little for the dads to scoot in, all that was left was for the emotions. "Alrighty guys, can I get a big smile?" Izuku asked from his stance behind the camera, giving his own example. Izuku noticed that everyone gave their best smile, Mr. Mike and Eri seemingly having a competition on who could smile wider, but Hitoshi, who had yet to look up from the floor. The guy was thinking louder than Izuku could mumble, and he had a reputation to keep. An idea came to mind right before he took the photo. Was it a good one? Who knows? But he did know it would make him look up and smile. "Hey, sweet plum!" His head snapped with an audible click. "Think I can get a smile?" Izuku asked, tilting his head slightly and raising himself from the crouched position behind the camera. Without a moment's pause, he began to smile wide. Not one of those creepy, slightly threatening ones where you can see the sleep deprivation and 30 ounces of coffee on full display, but a gentle one, happy and actually cheerful. As the other photographer came over and took his place and a new family started their little shoot, Izuku ran off to the food court before the family could catch him. Eating his free meal of katsudon, he looked back at the photos he'd taken, making sure he had every detail for editing noted in one of his notebooks. Coming to Hitoshi's, he stared at the image before writing "No edits" under their family name. He truly was picture perfect. Outtake. "You seriously didn't notice it was him the entire time? Will you please leave that alone?" "Fine then, Mr. Someone to Love Me." "Dads, please!" Hey there, guys, gals, and non-binary pals. It's Ella, and I hope you're having a lovely day today. Oh, it's a part 2. I hope you liked it. I thought it was so cute. Also, recording this one was such a struggle because my jaw, my gums are really swollen again, and it's just making me produce so much saliva, and some of the takes I was like, this sounds so bad in the audio because I'm just because I don't know, my gums are really swollen. It's not a good time. I should really go to the dentist. But, instead of talking about my swollen gums, let's talk about the fic. Let me know what you thought about it down in the comments below. I just love talking to all of you guys. Be sure to like the video, if you liked it, and to boost my serotonin levels. You can also subscribe to be notified whenever I make new videos, which at the moment is every day because I'm making a new fic every day in the lead up to Christmas. It's Ficmas. We're on, day 9 now, I think, and it's just been a really fun time. You can also join the Discord. I will link it down below if you want. It's a really fun time over there. We've had some pretty hilarious chats, so you're missing out if you're not in it. But until I see you again, be sure to practice some self-care. Go to bed on time. Again, do as I say, not as I do. Drink your water. I do that actually, so you can do as I say and I do that way. And brush your teeth, which I am doing just very gently right now because my gums are very swollen. But you better be doing all of them. Eat your 5 a day. It's really important. And if you don't, well, bad things are going to happen. Do you know why? Because this is a threat. Yep, you're being threatened. Do you feel threatened? You better. I will catch you guys laters.